golfj.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to the inaugural Golf J podcast on golfj.com. I'm Jim Sinacropi alongside Rhett Taccone inside the Finger Lakes 1.tv studios in Seneca Falls, New York on Monday night, October 12th. And we have a ton to talk about tonight, Rhett. The President's Cup came down to the wire. We'll give you our takeaways. The PGA Tour season kicks off at the Frys.com Open this week, and we'll give you our fantasy golf picks for the Frys.com, and we'll have a chance for you to win a Golf J golf hat if you can answer this week's trivia question. So good evening.
How you doing, Jim?
Pretty good up here in the Golf J studios here inside FingerLakes1.com, and I'm excited to talk golf even though it's October.
Absolutely.
And the season just ended.
So off season's over. It was a week long.
So we do have a ton to talk about tonight, including the President's Cup that kind of
lots of drama
just concluded. So let's get right to it. I wasn't too excited for the President's Cup, but I ended up losing a lot of sleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I was up late. We're here on the East Coast, and the rounds were getting over at 4 a.m., 6 a.m. on Saturday.
Saturday was brutal. That was a long haul. So it was 12 hours basically straight.
It was night after night.
Yeah.
So it was tough.
I went to
for
bed
us,
at 8 o'clock last night.
How can you stop watching a match at 2:30 a.m. that has 3 holes to go? That's a close match that you've been watching. So I got tricked into staying up late. But
our live Twitter feed was rolling, and
yeah,
it was good. It was good. It ended up being high drama. The first day, I thought it was going to be a whitewash when we took the 4-1 lead, but the international team came roaring back, and actually the next 3 days basically outscored us.
Yeah, it was a lot of golf.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying, "Oh, this is going to be a blowout," but that was such a small percentage of the total points available. But we did jump out to the lead. It was pretty emotional for Captain Jay Haas.
Yeah.
When his son Bill Haas brings up the anchor position, surprised he put him in the anchor position.
Right. Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure to put on your boy.
Yeah. Well, it's pressure on yourself to you're hoping he comes through, and you're putting yourself in that position where if he doesn't get it done, you're going to answer a lot of questions from a lot of people about one, why was he on the team, which he deserved it. He was next in line.
Yeah.
But two, why would you put your own son in that position? It's rough on him.
Well, you know what? I suppose that if anybody has faith in Bill Haas, it's his dad, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he did come through. It was a little ugly on the 18th. Sang Moon Bay kind of gave it away a little bit. But even at that point, if he had lost the hole, it would have been a tie. He wouldn't have lost the match. He played great. And, the shot he hit into 17 pretty much cinched it.
Yeah, he did. He was clutch. And like he said, he didn't play spectacular like a normal round of golf. If it was a match play, he would have missed the cut or something like that. But he said he hit the shots when he needed to hit them, and got us the win.
That's golf for you, though. That's match play.
Yeah.
It's just you're playing against one person, not the field. So.
Right. Your score doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Kind of like yesterday at Wayne Hills. It's another story.
So Haas wins, ton of emotion. Great finish, everything. If that was the finish of a Ryder Cup, though, it would have been like 10 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's not there yet, but you got to like the way it's going, based on, especially since people Wednesday, Thursday of last week were talking, is this the end of the President's Cup if it doesn't go well? If it's a rout by the U.S., do they shut it down? But with guys like Adam Scott and Jason Day and highly ranked players in the world. On both teams, there's no reason to shut it down. Just as long as it's not someplace where we have to watch it at 3 a.m. again.
Well, that's the thing. Anytime you're watching these guys play golf as part of a team, there's a little more pressure than even when they're out there playing for themselves week to week on the tour. Because when you're playing for yourself, you're only letting yourself down, and maybe your family. But out on these team events, right there, you got to look your teammates in the eye, and when you let them down, it's a different level of pressure.
Yeah.
But I think the President's Cup pressure is a little bit kind of contrived. What rivalry can there be between a team made up of from different parts of the world, whether it's Canada, South Africa,
Right.
Japan, Korea,
Yeah.
Australia. They have nothing really in common except
Right.
they're not Americans.
Well, yeah, it's tough to, they're all on the Ryder Cup. They're all from Europe, and they're all a lot closer together. It is spread out, but I think the last few holes and the way the last day went down, I think maybe it'll be a different kind of competitive rivalry, and those guys seem to put just as much into it. It helped, he had a couple guys from South Korea there as well. I had a guy from India who was his first time.
Yeah, he
country's first time.
missed a short putt on the last hole.
Unfortunately.
Didn't hit that putt too bad, Larry.
No,
It was just a bad break, a little too hard maybe.
yeah, it looked like he was maybe just a touch offline.
He rushed it. He was quick. He was up there, hit it. Looked like it was going in, lipped out.
Yeah.
Big
always-
mistake.
You can always second guess those things, but he misses that. But Bubba missed a putt too. So if Bubba makes his putt, then that's not even an issue. But there's other things too. Phil's whole deal we can get into a little bit. That whole drama situation from the second day.
Right. And that basically was where Mickelson, the one ball rule was in effect for this.
Right.
It's
Right.
not in effect for
90% of the time.
Yeah. It's but for this, the PGA Championship, this President's Cup's a PGA of America
Right.
event. So some of the rules are different than a USGA event or a PGA Tour event, and this is one of them. So when Mickelson realized he violated the one ball rule, the rules official basically told him that they lost the hole.
Right.
But that's not true. It's a one hole assessed penalty.
Right.
So at the point that Mickelson realized he violated the rule, they take one off the score right there.
Right.
But you continue from where you are.
And he could have kept playing.
So he essentially lost 2 holes.
They did. Yeah, and that's
in one.
And that's tough to do for anybody to come back from. And luckily for the United States, they actually did come back and have the match. But to leave it to Phil, he's always tinkering. He's always got something going on. Not to gain an edge per se. He wasn't doing it to one up somebody, but Phil's always looking for new ways to better his game.
So you think they pulled out the ball thinking I need a little higher ball flight, I'm going to go with the Pro V1X?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how he plays. He's a lot of different situations. One tournament he leaves his driver and it doesn't even bring a driver out. One tournament he's got 2 drivers. I mean, he's always doing that type of stuff. And unfortunately, this time it came back to bite him, so to speak. So the thing with that though is, while yes, as he said in his press conference, was kind of coy about that, and they did spot him, their best team, two shots or 2 holes, and still halved it. But at the end of the day, we only won by 1 point. So if they don't have that match because of that rules violation, we lose the cup.
Yeah, but there's a million things, a million points that swung on
True.
things.
Strokes, yeah, he missed putts, but I just for him to be tinkering and doing that, and that to come up as other guys missed putts, missed shots, actually in play. This was an episode
2-hole
where
penalty
it was a
because of a
2-hole
mistake,
penalty,
a
and
double
it was a rules
mistake.
mistake. It was a mistake.
The rules official told Mickelson that they lost the hole. That was a mistake by them.
rules.
I don't blame Phil for picking up at that point. He's just been
Yeah,
told by rule official
exactly.
they lost the hole. It's unfortunate they couldn't rectify it, but they
Right.
discovered the error after it was too late. Once the next shot's played, so
Yeah.
forget about it.
Yeah.
So, the most disappointing part of the President's Cup, and I'm really upset about this, is that you got the number 1 player in the world on one team,
Yep.
and you got the number 2 player in the world on the other team. You got an event that's struggling for recognition and a place in the golf world. Like, it's definitely, the Ryder Cup is right up there with the golf's majors.
Yep.
The President's Cup's probably right up there with
Tour championship or the Players Championship.
yeah, a little lower. I'd even say a little lower. And you got
Before
a
the-
chance to put them together. And the way that they drilled the teams, they could have agreed
Yeah,
to
because
do it.
they weren't putting them in envelopes. They were just going back and forth. So, when Nick Price says Jason Day, Bill Haas, Coach Haas could have said Jordan Spieth right off the bat.
And then perfect. Everybody's
Done.
happy.
Yeah.
TV's happy,
Yeah.
and golf fans are happy,
Yeah.
and you get to see this showdown.
Yeah.
Instead, you see Spieth lose to Leishman, and Zach Johnson just smoke Jason Day, who had
Yeah.
a horrible week.
He
I
did.
think
He had
he
a bad
went
week.
0-4-1. He tied a match. I mean, this guy was like the king of the world
Yep.
a month ago,
Yep.
and and he just gets swept 0-4-1.
Yeah, he didn't have a great week. A couple of his partners, didn't play that good either in some of those matches. But, still, even him not playing well that week, on Sunday, anything can happen. You still want your number one and number two going against each other. And I was shocked, too, that, neither one of them, he put Day out 6th or something along those lines. It was in that area. It wasn't even near the end. And how do you not put either one of those guys together, but also how do you not put them out 10th, 11th, 12th?
Yeah, I mean, part of a captain's strategy might be to get points early to influence things late, but, I don't think you can criticize really either captain. I didn't like the Dustin Johnson-Spieth pairing. I thought that some of the international pairings were questionable by Nick Price, but that's got to be a much more difficult task to try to make teams when you have an Indian and a Korean and Australian.
Different descents that don't necessarily speak the same language.
Yeah, there's a language barrier, and these guys all know each other. It's not like they wouldn't be, but a lot harder, I'm sure, to make the pairings. And
but Jordan Spieth though. What about him and a couple of things he said?
I think Jordan Spieth is a fantastic golfer, obviously, and I think that he is. I just have this sense that maybe he's got this other underside, and underside's the wrong word. He's got a personality that could become a little abrasive when things don't go his way. Maybe he's not Mr. Squeaky clean nice guy as people are making it out. And I think that came through in some of his comments that he made, throwing kind of his partner Dustin Johnson under the bus at one point.
Kind of. I don't know if people missed that, I think, a little bit because he's right after that he said, well, Merry Christmas to those guys, meaning the international team, that he and Johnson didn't play well and that they basically gave that point to him. Well, right before that, he said, well, I'm with playing with Dustin, I rely on my shot making ability and keeping it in the fairway because Dustin's game is kind of to putting it all over the course, so to speak, without saying that. So I thought I saw that and heard that first before I even heard the.
And then he throws his opponents underneath the bus.
And then he's walking. He's talking to putts and kind of giving faces out on the course that one day, and it's just not to knock him, but there's some undertones there that could possibly come out that he's a little abrasive, maybe a little bit egotistical. Maybe they all might be.
I think it's egotistical. I don't think you can be a top player in the world without being a little egotistical.
True.
But I think it's a young kid. Really, maybe shouldn't be saying these things about him. But I think it was a little out of line with some of those comments. And I just wonder as we move forward, especially as he has some times when he struggles.
How will he handle, not, missing a few cuts or not winning 3 or 4 majors? Maybe he goes next year without winning a major, How's he going to handle all that stuff? There's going to be a lot more pressure on him for sure. He's arrived, and he's as big as they get right now. He's up there with Rory and Day, and, same sentences as Tiger and Phil now. I mean, he's getting a lot of pub, and he's America's darling right now. So hopefully he keeps grounded, and he is who we think he is. And he can kind of look back at his interviews and see that he might want to, watch what he says every now and then.
Right. Well, Americans win again.
Yeah.
And in 2017, it'll be at Liberty National. In between them, we got a Ryder Cup next year, so a little easier to view for us East Coast United States guys in 2017.
We might have to go to that one.
Liberty National, we could totally do that. So I guess moving on, golf might be the only sport that you could do a season review and a season preview in the same show. Because the PGA ended 2 weeks ago at the Tour, or 3 weeks ago at the Tour Championship, 2.5 weeks. And this weekend, it's back. Season opener.
The world's shortest off-season.
Opening day, Frys.com.
That's right. Bring it on.
Silverado Resort in Napa Valley. The Frys has been in existence since 2006. $6 million purse. You can watch it all on Golf Channel. And mention the East Coast viewing from California. That's all prime time for us here.
Love it.
I think that's great. I think that the crop of web.com guys that are coming on the tour, in addition to all the strong field that's playing of existing Tour Pros is making this a really good opener. Who's going to get off to the lead?
Yeah, absolutely. Who's gonna make a statement right off the bat?
Who's going to win the first monies?
There's a bunch of web.com guys that are going to be in the tournament that graduated from there, and they're all going to be anxious to get a good start going. But there's some big names in the tournament too.
Yeah, like Rory.
As big as it gets. Justin Rose. You got some guys from the President's Cup that are flying already back over.
Matsuyama.
Yeah, and Schwartzel's playing in it as well, and
Paul Casey, Snedeker, Rookie of the Year, Daniel Berger,
Mahan.
Hunter Mahan.
Yeah, he had a good end to. He played well for a few days over in Europe a few weeks back, and looking to build on that as well.
So we're going to give our fantasy picks for the Frys.com a little later in the show. But you like this? You like how the tour just kind of is gone and back?
Well, for a long time I was used to the starting the season with the Mercedes in Hawaii. I always thought that was a great start to it. More primetime golf, and I was used to it that way. And then they went with the fall swing. Never really had much interest in that when the President's Cup started. They had that fall swing.
Yeah.
And Frys was part of that actually. But
yep.
Now the way it is, it just ended, and I'd hate to go 4 months or 3 months without golf, and that's what we do. So I'm pretty much fired up about it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to, like I say, the younger crop coming on, and I've been looking forward to fantasy golf and all those things. And we had a fantasy golf draft a week ago.
Sure.
And the new season's here, so. Yeah. You got your DraftKings, which, by the way, I don't know when they're going to put the stuff up for Frys.com, but as of Monday night at about 8:55, wasn't posted yet.
They've had a few things going on the last week, so hopefully they get it up by tomorrow.
Well, next thing I want to talk about quickly here is, I don't know if you caught it, but Tiger reached out to Davis Love and said he'd like to be assistant captain for the Ryder Cup squad in 2016. And then there was some discussion of should Tiger or Phil Mickelson, eventually be captains or be assistants on this upcoming team. Mickelson will probably, I would think, would be top on the list of captains' picks for the Ryder Cup this year. Tiger is probably not going to be on that team. So
right now, I would say though, Phil basically was a players' captain this year. I mean, all the guys look up to him. They lobbied for him to be the captain's choice this year. Yeah,
and he came through. He was the MVP.
Yeah,
Mickelson was MVP3. He made a shot from the bunker in the fairway.
Yeah,
he holed 3 shots.
3 shots. I mean,
he was
quotable. He was having a great time up
keeping everybody
in the
loose.
Players' Lounge, keeping them all loose. So I mean, he's definitely, he probably will be a player's choice, or captain's choice, but he's definitely one that I would have in there. All these young guys, though, too. I mean, look at them over the last decade. Who have they been looking up to? Well, Tiger Woods. So if he doesn't, by chance, have a great year next year, or is not healthy, and he becomes Davis Love's pick for an assistant captain, he'd be a great choice. He'll keep them loose in the locker room. He has a lot of good advice, and Brando Chambly didn't really think that these guys have put a lot into it, and he kind of commented on some of the things negative that they did, but. These guys are into it. They're playing for their country. They want to be there. I mean,
I think Tiger could be distracting a little bit if he did end up being there. I think Mickelson's a good choice, but it's interesting to note that these guys, 2 of the best of their generation, Tiger arguably the best ever.
Yeah.
Tiger 13-17-3 Ryder Cup record. Mickelson 16-19-6.
Yeah.
They don't get it done for their team when they need to. And what's even more interesting about Tiger's numbers are he was 4-1-2 in the singles. So when he was out there just himself, but he was 4-8-1 in foursomes and 5-8-0 in 4-balls, which is terrible. Is he a bad partner? Is Tiger like a bad partner?
Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I guess by the numbers you'd say yes, he is a bad partner. Maybe you just hold him out until the singles. But I think, his game. I mean, if he's got to hit somebody else's shot or something like that, it just doesn't work for him. I think he's just better off, in the singles. Phil, it's kind of a mystery, but both of them are much better President's Cup players than they are Ryder Cup players.
Right.
But it's hard to say why that is. You can't really put a point on it. I guess it's hard to say why we're terrible in 4-ball.
Well, the President's Cup doesn't matter even 25% as much as the Ryder Cup.
Right.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
A lot less stress, and a lot. There's been, we haven't done that great in the Ryder Cup lately, and these guys, it weighs heavy on these guys.
Sure, and the other thing is, against Mickelson is looking back on the last Ryder Cup with Tom Watson as captain, all the controversy that Mickelson was always at the middle of, upset that, that Watson didn't put him and Keegan Bradley out in the afternoon one day,
right,
and kind of trashing Watson at the press conference.
That was a bad press conference after.
Yeah, for everybody involved, it made me think less of Watson and Mickelson.
Yeah, those two kind of weren't acting their age, so to speak, and I think Tom, being a legend, he deserves a little more respect, regardless of what happened in the event. But Phil, I think, had not an agenda, but was trying to move the needle to get change made, and I think he felt that was, where you're going to get everybody together thinking about this loss right away, right there. I mean, that was the best time to do it. You go 2 weeks later, and it's not going to have the effect. So I think he, made his point.
So let's fast forward to 2022. They got to name a captain for the team. Who's your pick? Mickelson or Tiger, or neither? None of the above.
I don't know. Honestly, I'd like to see Zinger get it again.
Like maybe every year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they have to change the captain all the time. I do like the way the President's Cup did it prior to this year. Freddie was the captain 3 straight times.
Yeah.
Jack was the captain a few times.
They got their system rolling. Why hand it over every 2 years?
And excuse me, but Zinger's the only one that's got this figured out in the last decade. Basically, he's
right.
Our last win was with Zinger, and before that, we didn't do well either. So, a guy who's put so much time and effort into it, and I'm not saying the other guys don't, but I got to think that Zinger put way more effort into it than Tom Watson did. With the pods, coming up with that whole system, and we dominated that Ryder Cup, and before that we've gotten beat pretty handily. And we had a miracle with Ben Crenshaw's team. It was a miracle comeback. So, why not keep Zinger in there until he proves otherwise or says he wants to retire from it? He'd love to do it, and he'd do it in a heartbeat.
Right. Well, this year starts the run. Now that the PGA Tour is starting back up, we're starting the accumulation of Ryder Cup points. We're going to be talking about it all year, almost like they did the President's Cup this year, except this year it's the Ryder Cup.
Yep.
So, something to look forward to.
That team looks good, though, that we just had. And if you had a couple different guys, maybe Koepka. Yeah, I know you like Koepka and guys like that. Maybe even a Streb or, Hunter Mahan didn't make it. Which
by the end of the year, it could be Hudson Swafford. It could be Russell Knox. It could be a million people.
Think of the guys that weren't on the team, Snedeker and Mahan, guys like that, regular household names the last 10 years. Thinking that that's how good the competition is.
We got a deep pool to pull from. And a lot of the Europeans now are playing so much on the American Tour that I don't know how they're going to sort that out. Like Paul Casey, for example, he took himself out of consideration, basically. He's basically an American Tour player now.
Yep, absolutely.
So, all right, guys, here's your chance to win. A sweet Golf J hat with the logo on there.
New Era.
Yeah, nice New Era cap. Actually, it's the exact same tailor-made cap I have on here right now. We got the shipment coming in by next week.
Yeah, it'll be here. Be here soon. But gotta have the right answer though. This is a tough question.
You have to be the first to tweet us.
Right.
At the Golf J.
Yep.
On Twitter.
On Twitter.
So get your Twitter accounts up because it'll probably happen during the live show. But if it doesn't and you're watching on demand, you want to tweet us the answer, hey, maybe you might be the winner. We're a young podcast. I don't know what our following is at the moment.
We're working every day to get it there.
But this week's question, golfj.com trivia question, is who was the captain of the first U.S. President's Cup team in 1994? So 1994, and we want to know also not only who was the captain for the U.S., but also the internationals.
It's a twofold question. You have to get both captains right.
And you gotta, if you know it, get on Twitter right now. If you don't, then get on Google and then get on Twitter.
Yeah, look it up because it'll be out there. But yeah, you have to have both captains.
And then for our listeners, we're gonna have the answer at the end of the episode tonight. So moving on, it's time for the greatest golf tips of all time segment. There's so many golf tips out there that sometimes we forget. There's classic ones.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to focus on the classics every week.
The Ben Hogan's, Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Byron Nelson, guys like that, Harvey Pennick.
Dave Pells, Dr. Joseph Parent for Zen Golf.
Absolutely.
David Ledbetter.
There's all kinds.
Yeah, we have no shortage of tips.
No.
But we start tonight with the mother of all, probably golf tips.
Yeah, Harvey Pennick and his Little Red Book. If you haven't read this book, I highly suggest you do. Tons and tons of golf tips in this, and very simple, broken down very simply into the basics. And when you read it, you're thinking, why don't I do that? These tips are so simple. But the first one we're going to do, and Harvey's kind of said that this is the absolute most important one in the book, so I figured we'd start with that one, is to simply take dead aim. Harvey just wants you to take dead aim on every shot, every approach, every time you line up a putt, every time you're taking practice swings. You should always just take dead aim at the target. And it's not much simpler, to be broken down than that. Once you address that golf ball, the most important thing that you should be doing and thinking about is taking dead aim at that shot, and everything else should be out.
Well, I love this tip because I'm a big Zen golf guy,
Right.
and a big tip in Zen golf is to really try to hit it to where you want to hit it.
Yeah.
Don't daydream. Think about the target, feel the target even,
Exactly.
and hit the target. I don't know how many times the average golfer doesn't even think of the target when they're hitting.
Right.
They're thinking, I'm going to line it up here and draw it in, or they're they're scared of something. The only thing in your mind when you're hitting should be where you want to hit it, and your subconscious does such a good job sometimes of making your body do what it needs to do.
Absolutely.
If you remove the interference. And I think that's what Harvey Penick was coming at with the take that aim.
He says that average golfer will be surprised that if you really focus on that, and no matter what type of swing you have, you're going to get the ball where you want to get it, as long as you're taking dead aim and not thinking about anything else, and just making sure that you've blocked everything else out.
Well, we'll be back with another tip next week, but if you're out on the course this week, take that aim.
Absolutely.
Visualize that target and try to hit it in the hole from wherever you are. And that's true for full shots, chip shots,
No doubt.
wedges. Try to hit the ball where you want to hit it.
Any putts, anything,
Well, I don't know if you saw, but today NBC will take over coverage of the Open Championship, which is great news. This year, they were originally going to do it next year, but ESPN sold them the rights this year, so Johnny Miller and company can get over there to Royal Troon and start their coverage,
That's
which
awesome.
is great.
I mean, those guys, not having them in the majors this year was a bummer. Seeing those guys at majors, Johnny Miller he has the greatest commentary of all time. I just love what he does, and having him on Golf Channel and all the coverage that they have now.
It's just the fact you got NBC and Golf Channel, the same company, but you saw it at you actually didn't see it at the President's Cup because it was all Golf Channel.
Right.
They did air the final round in the afternoon on replay on NBC, but for the major championship like the Open, you're going to have both networks in full force out there providing great coverage. So I think that's great news.
Absolutely.
Okay. Frys.com, it's a new season. It's fantasy golf time. Who are you going to pick? The Frys.com at Silverado Resort in Spa. It's a north course. There's more than one course at Silverado. Napa, California, measures in at 7,200 yards.
Right.
Plays as a par 72, which is pretty much an oddity on tour nowadays. Par 5, 4, 5, finishing 3 holes, which will be real exciting if it's close coming down the stretch.
Yep.
And Sang Moon Bae last year kind of burst on the scene and won despite shooting one over par 73 in the final round.
Yeah, he held on.
And so who's going to win it this year?
Well,
we're going to give you our winners picks. We're going to give you
pick?
our strong plays, and we're going to pick a sleeper.
Sleeper, exactly. So, who you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Right.
My pick was going to be this guy right here, Brooks Koepka. I think he got spurned by the President's Cup, even though he's pretty classy. He took the high road with it, so he'll earn his way on next time. Tied for 8 at the Frys.com last year.
Right.
So that top 10 finish last year, likes the course. He's rested and ready, where a lot of the top players were over there in Korea. They're going to have to adjust with the jet lag. And also last year in the fall start, or whatever you want to call it, he tied for 4th the following week at the Shriners. So I think he's going to be ready to go. And I also think this guy's going to win a major championship this year.
He's going to be in the equation.
He's going to get win number 1 out of the way right away.
Okay.
Probably won't be too expensive, on DraftKings. He won't be
Exactly.
probably won't be in top
He
2 or
won't-
3,
yeah.
maybe 4th, 5th guy. We'll see what they ever get it out.
You never know. You never know. Well, that being said, I'm going to go with a little more chalk, and I'm going to go with this guy, Rory McIlroy. He's coming off of a tough ending to his season, so to speak. He's
the heavy favorite.
Yeah, heavy favorite, but he's just going to be looking to get the conversation going again about him.
True.
He won 3 tournaments this past year. Let's not forget
Yeah.
that. One of them was the match play.
He just missed
And-
half the majors.
Yeah,
so.
that was unfortunate, but him being in this field, ready to go, has had a few weeks off. Came around a little bit towards the end of the FedEx Cup playoffs. I just got a good feeling about Rory this year and what he's going to do for the 2016 season.
Now, why I'm staying away from Rory? I feel that it's going to be tough for him to get up for the Frys.com Open.
Well, I don't know. He did commit last year, but some scheduling conflicts, I think, with the Euro Tour got him out of there. I think he's looking forward to playing at the Frys.com. I mean, he's a guy that takes every event serious, no matter if it's the Frys or the Masters. He's going to prepare the same way, and he's going to be ready to go. So Rory McIlroy.
There's our winners. There's our winners. Now, how about some other strong plays that are in the field? And if I'm picking my DraftKings team,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm side betting my buddies and picking a team for this week, I originally said I don't want any President's Cup guys because of all the issues. But when I see Hideki Matsuyama in the field,
Right.
with the field that's there, which is it's a little stronger than you might expect for the
No, it's a very
Frys,
strong
but for
field.
the most part, you're getting maybe 5 of the top 20 players in the world.
Yeah.
So Matsuyama stands out, jet lagged or not. And you know what? They're coming from Korea to California. It's not like they're coming from Australia to New York.
Yeah.
It's not that big.
It's a long flight, Jim.
It is. I've never been. I've never made it.
I haven't
I've never
either,
made
but
the
I know
flight.
it's a long flight.
But the Matsuyama tied Jordan Spieth with 19 top 25 finishes. They both had 25 starts in the past season. So, I mean, that's consistency you can count on. If I got Koepka winning, I'm going to have Matsuyama with a top 5 finish to bolster my team.
Yeah, I didn't go that route because I do think those guys are going to be a little bit spent from the drama and emotion of the President's Cup. I went again, kind of just going chalk with some of the bigger names right now. Not really going with some of the new guys that got cards yet. I'm gonna go with Justin Rose for sure. I like the way he ended the season. And hey, the season was only 2 weeks ago. So
Again, I think he's like Frys.com, Frys.what? What's going on
I don't
here?
know. These guys are pros. If they're going to play in it, they're going to play in it.
There's a lot of hungry young guys, though, I think,
There is.
that are
It's true.
super excited for the
Sure.
Frys.com. Guys like Daniel Berger last year. These are 3 more strong plays I have, and I have no idea where these guys are going to rank, but I think they're going to be pretty good value picks. So
Yeah.
you might be able to get a McIlroy and a Koepka along with guys like Daniel Berger. Last year's Rookie of the Year, played great in the Florida swing, then he kind of disappeared, but he had a resurgence in the FedEx Cup, so he's trending hot. I like Daniel Berger. I like Martin Laird. He was tied for 3rd last year at the Frys.com. Martin Laird out of Scotland, played at Colorado State College Golf. A little underwhelming in the playoffs, though, with it tied for 73rd and tied for 97. He was out at the Deutsche Bank, but he likes this course. It's a total change of pace from the pressure of the FedEx Cup to the Frys.com. I like Laird, and I like Hudson Swafford, tied for 8th last year in his sophomore season. It saw him improve from 146th in the world after or in the money list after his freshman rookie year to 107th, and he's going to improve this year from 107th up into the top 50, and he's going to start off on that path with a strong showing.
So you're saying you
at
like
the
it?
Frys.com. I like Hudson Swafford is my 4th strong play. So who are the 3 guys?
Well, I definitely like Hunter Mahan. I think he's going to bounce back. First time he hadn't made the Tour Championship since the FedEx Cup's been in play. I think that's going to affect him a little bit. He did go to Europe the next week, and he played well. He had a good round and a bad round. He didn't make the cut, but I think he's on the right path. I also like Tony Finau. He had a great season. You know, he was making cuts left and right and was really on the
He
rise.
tied for 12th last year at the Frys.
Yeah, and that started it all for him. So
he never looked back after that.
No, he didn't.
He had a great year.
He did.
Great
he
year.
Did. And then, you know, one of my ultimate cut machine guys that basically is always there and never misses a cut is Brant Snedeker. You know, so we'll see how they all stack up on the DraftKings or on the fantasy sites and what you can get them for. You might not be able to get all those guys on your roster.
I think you'll
but
be able to do
those
my
are solid.
team though. I think you'll be able to get Koepka, Laird, Matsuyama, Berger, Swafford, and my sleeper.
Who's that?
My sleeper pick is I'm drawing a blank.
Well, I'm going to go with Ali Sneederjans for my sleeper pick. He
He burst onto the scene.
He did. He had a great Open Championship. He did. You know, he's not fully exempt on tour, so he's going to take as big advantage as he can of all his opportunities out there this year. So I like him a lot. But you know, I think with that team, you can get 3 to 4 of those guys, maybe 5 out of the 6. You could get there. You might have to go bargain basement for your last guy with my team, but I like that team a lot. So I picked it and I'm sticking with it. I had a bad habit in the past of switching up my guys a couple of days later, but I like this group of guys.
I honestly can't remember my sleeper pick. Hold on a second. Let me go find it. Let me find my sleeper pick. Oh yeah. How could I forget?
Yeah. Grillo, that's right.
Emiliano Grillo, Web.com finals winner. Also came in second the week before in Puerto Rico. That was just 2 weeks ago.
Right,
I mean,
right.
this guy is playing well. Now he's ready as a rookie on the PGA Tour.
Right.
I like as a sleeper Grillo. I think he'll make the cut at the very least. I think he'll be a top 10. So, loving my team this week. Heading into the Frys, and it's fun to not skip a beat. Although, you know, there's a longer break in competitive tournaments from like early December to January than there is between the end of the season and the start of the season.
Yeah, because in December it kind of quiets down. You have Tiger's tournament, his invitational, but that's only 16 guys.
Yeah,
and then you got to wait until after the New Year to go to Hawaii.
Right. So there's our fantasy picks for the week, and we want to remind everybody, head over to golfj.com. The most interesting links in golf, nicely curated, quick access via our tournament hub to every tournament that's going on.
Yep.
Quick access to the leaderboards. There's dozens of great golf publications, networks, and websites out there, but we get the best that they all have to offer and put them in one place every day, golfj.com.
That's right. We're 24/7, 365 golf for you.
So, real quick before we get out of here, I don't know if you noticed, most of the golfing world was paying attention to the President's Cup, but the British Masters was taken in wire-to-wire fashion by Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
The 213 U.S. amateur champ will become the youngest top 100 player when the rankings are reshuffled.
And you know what he did after he won that $636,000 or $736,000?
Went to Disney World.
No, he went to Subway.
Subway.
He ate fresh.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Matthew Fitzpatrick. And there's a guy we're probably going to be talking about a lot this year.
No doubt.
Our trivia. We need to answer the trivia question.
To our trivia
The 1994 President's Cup American captain, good old Hale Irwin.
Yep.
International captain, good old David Graham.
Right.
Hale Irwin, David Graham. We'll see. We'll have the winner of the hat next week. We'll announce it. So we hope you guys are going to be back next Monday night. And thanks for spending time with us tonight on the Golf J podcast. All our episodes and the best of the wonderful world of golf on the web can be found at golfj.com. We'll be back next Monday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. Until then, hit 'em long, not often.
golfj.com